Hey Vikings, Mr. Hippie here with you. We're going to look at section 1.2, which is adding integers. So, let me get full screen going here. All right, so my first example for you here says find -2 plus -4, and it says use a number line to check your answer. All right, so if you've seen these before, let me hide this here. What we notice is we're adding two negative numbers. So when we're ever adding two negative numbers, what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to keep that sign. So if I'm adding any two negative numbers, my answer is always going to be a negative. So it kind of makes things easier on you. So if you know your answer is going to be negative, you can really just take the absolute value of both of those numbers and add them up together. So like the absolute value of 2 is 2, absolute value of -4 is 4, 2 plus 4 is 6, and then because the fact that these are both negative numbers, you're also going to get an answer of negative, so it becomes -6. Now, it says, part of this says, hey, let's check your answer using a number line. So if I were looking at a number line, you could draw yourself a number line like this. You always want to start at 0. So it started off with -2. So if I know it's negative, I know I'm going to be going to the left 2 spaces. So that first step is going to bring me to this part right here. And then -4. So again, it's a negative, so I'm going to go 4 more steps to the left. And I'm going to end up on this -6. So that's how you could check the answer. What I'd like you guys to try, I'm going to give you 3 problems here. So I want you to pause your video and see if you can solve these 3 on your own. All right, so hopefully you've paused your video there. You've gone through these problems. What I notice about the first one here is I have 7 plus 13. They're both positive. Hopefully you can see that's going to be an answer of 20. It's going to give me all the answers here. So -8, -5, again, both negative numbers. So this time I know my answer is going to be negative, and 8 plus 5 is 13. Again, number 3, similar, -20, -15. So I know my answer is negative because two negatives are always going to add up to be a bigger negative number. And 20 plus 15 is 35. All right, my second example is not going to be quite as straightforward. My second example of problems here, you'll notice that you have a positive number and a negative number. So the trick with these problems is you always want to take the sign of the greater number. So you ask yourself, which number is bigger, 5 or 10? Well, hopefully you know that 10 is a bigger number, and 10 is a negative number. So I know that my answer is actually going to be a negative here. So what you can do is you can subtract 5 from 10. So basically you're taking the absolute value of both of these numbers. So 10 minus 5, or sorry, 5 minus 10 is -5. Let's see here. So if we look at the second problem, I have -3 plus 7. So in this case, 7's the bigger number and 7's a positive number, right? So with this one, I can just take the 7 and I can subtract 3 from it. So 7 minus 3 is 4. You could also use a number line and do it that way. So if you had a number line here, let me see if I can I can draw a number line. So if I were to look at this problem, and here's my number line, and let's say, it's kind of hard to do this here, but let's say this was -3, so that's -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so -3 is going to be kind of my starting point. So let's see if I can get a different color here. So -3, so if I'm starting at 0, I'm going 3 over to -3. Now I have a +7, so if I want to go 7 spots, now I'm going forward 7 spots. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So my answer is going to fall on that -4. All right, let me undo the pen here. All right, and then my last problem here was find -12 plus 12. So if I've got a negative and a positive, they're both the same number. What are they going to do? Well, they're going to cancel each other out. So if I'm starting at 0 and I'm going backwards 12, and then I'm going forward 12, I'm going to be back to where I started at. So that's a quick and easy one. Negative 12 plus 12. It's called the additive inverse property. So they're opposites of each other. If they're opposites, your answer is going to be 0. So there is a few problems that I would like you to try on your own. So I'm going to give you a full screen here, and you got 3 problems. I want you to pause the video here and try these 3 on your own. All right, so you have paused the video. Let me go back to my pen here so I can do it with you. So number 4, I've got a negative 2 and a positive 11. So 11's my bigger number, right? So I can just take 11 minus 2, and you should get an answer of 9. All right, here I have a positive 9 and a negative 10. So the 10 is bigger than 9, so my answer I know is going to be negative something. So I can take the absolute value. What's 10 minus 9? Well, my answer is going to be 1. So my answer right there for that one is negative 1. And then negative 31 plus 31. Again, these are opposites. If they're opposites, your answer should be 0. Let me through here. Oh, there was one last problem. All right, actually, here, we'll do this one here. So we got a third example problem. All right, so this one is something that you might see as a word problem on an assignment. So this one says the list shows 4 bank account transactions in July. Find the change in the account balance. So we're going to assume that we started off with no money in this account. Then a withdrawal. Well, a withdrawal is you're taking money out of it, right? And then deposits are you're putting money into it. So we're looking here. We've got 2 withdrawals, which we're taking money out. We got 2 deposits putting money in. We want to figure out what the balance is in this account. So hopefully you can see here that I've got a withdrawal and a deposit of $50. So if I'm taking 50 out and putting 50 in, well, what happens there? You go to my pen again here. Basically, these 2 numbers are going to cancel out. So at this point, now I have a negative 40 and a positive 75. So what I can do, I can look at these 2 numbers and I can say, which one of these has the bigger absolute value? Well, 75 is bigger than 40. So my answer is going to be a positive number. And at that point, all I got to do is take 75 and minus that 40. And I get an answer of $35. If you wanted, you could set this up as a big, long addition problem. So if you wanted to set it up that way, you certainly could. And you'll notice that those 2 cancel themselves out. And then I just kind of changed the order here because the 75 was the bigger number. I subtracted the 40, and you'll still end up with that same answer of $35. All right, let's go back to the on your own questions. So we talked about the first 3. See if you can do number 7 here. It says in example 3, the deposit amounts are $30 and $40. So 30 and 40. Let's go back to example 3. Oops, here we go. And let me make sure I had it right. 30 and 40, okay. All right, so what they're saying is these withdrawal amounts, instead of 40 and 50, are 30 and 40. Or is that the case? Let me try. Deposit amounts. Okay, so my mistake. Let's go back here. Deposits are 30 and 40. So instead of this 50 and 75, I've got $30 and $40. So this time I'm going to just write out this problem. So I'm going to say negative 40 plus 30, because that's a deposit, plus 40, it's another deposit, and then plus negative 50, which is a withdrawal. So this time, hopefully you see what I see, and I see a negative 40 and a positive 40. Again, these guys can cancel out. And now I've got a negative 50 and a positive 30. The 50 is a bigger absolute value, so my answer is going to be negative something. So this time we got no money in the account. We're actually in the negative. And then 50 minus 30 is 20. So the answer to this one would be a negative $20. All right.